Moin Whisky-Fans, willkommen bei den Malt Mariners und zu Teil 2 von meiner Schnellfragerunde an 5 dänische Brennereien. 10 Fragen habe ich Ihnen gestellt und ich hatte sehr, sehr viel Freude damit. Ich habe besucht Thy Distilleries, Downham Distillery, die Farilochen Distillery, die Trolden Distillery und die Nyborg Distillery, die den Isle of Fiona Single Malt herstellen. Alle 5 tolle Brennereien, sympathische Menschen. Ich hatte die Zeit meines Lebens und ich hoffe, ihr habt genauso viel Spaß mit dem Video, wie ich es hatte. Viel Spaß! So in 2, maximal 3 Sätzen, wenn ihr eine Sache ändern könntet bei euch, was wäre das?
Da fiel mir jetzt nichts Großartiges ein. Ändern tun wir vieles, weil wir viel experimentieren.
Also ihr seid eigentlich ständig dabei, was zu verändern?
Wir ändern, ja, wir sind sehr dynamisch, wir probieren sehr viele Sachen aus. Ja. Wir veröffentlichen um die 10 Whiskys jedes Jahr, die neu sind. Wenn du Whiskys machst, hast du auch immer eine Vision über die nächsten 10, 15 Jahre, welche Art von Whisky wir uns vorstellen können. Insofern verändern wir vieles, aber es gibt im Prinzip nichts Kritisches, was wir verändern wollen.
Ja.
Ja, das wäre eine gute Frage. Also um unser Gründer, unser Manager was ändern wollen, da fragen die mir leider nicht, oder die fragen mir jedenfalls nicht, also habe ich keine Ahnung davon. Wenn ich was ändern würde, da kann ich also, nein, ich komme eigentlich auf nichts. Ich finde eigentlich den Art und Weise, den Weg, die wir gefunden haben, entspricht und erklärt ganz gut und beibringt ein dänischer Whisky. Und so soll es sein. Ich würde es eher sagen, wäre uns nicht gelungen, dann hätte ich schon was geändert, dass man halt eben in eher regionales Richtung geht, wo komme ich denn her? Und das haben die Jungs, wie viele anderen, sag ich mal, auch neue Destillen, ganz gut hingebracht. Also ich kann auch, ja, du sitzt ja mit einem T-Shirt von unserer, sag ich mal, Berliner Freunde, unser Stork Club. Finde ich geile Geschichte, geile Whisky, Riesenlob an denen. Starboard aus Australien, also dann kannst du unseren Nachbarn, den Thy, erwähnen, Stonewall aus den Oberpfalz. Also ich kann so viele Kollegen erwähnen, wo ich sage, hey, die machen geiles Stoff, ja.
If you could change one thing about your whiskey, what would that be?
Yeah, I don't think changes because I really think we make good whiskey. But we have been doing experiments on the casks, and we've been doing that for all the years.
Yeah.
I think we tried, okay, how would our new make work together with Sauterne cask, together with a Muscatel cask? How do we make this cross between the smoke and the sherry? And we are developing on that. So we've been trying to look what could we do and what could we do different here. So I don't think I want to change it, but we have now. You can say in the start, Jens Erik, he thought it should be his hobby. Now we'll be producing much more whiskey. Last year I produced around 10,000 liters of new make. So in a while we have to open up the doors, not only to Denmark, but also to Europe to say where should we go to sell our whiskey. Yeah.
So you would say maybe change would be not expansion, but maybe a broader audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Precisely.
What would you change if you could easily do it?
If it was easy, then I would switch every single ingredient in our products to Danish.
Okay.
Yeah. And something we try to, every time we make a new product, how can we incorporate Danish ingredients into this?
Yeah.
But it's more difficult than you would think. We wouldn't be able to make rum because we don't have any sugar canes in Denmark. But we really like to experiment with rum. But we try to make some projects where we do that more and more. as I also showed you earlier, we are trying to incorporate more Danish casks into the production. But there aren't that many casks to get from Denmark, so it's not that easy.
Yeah, obviously.
And you have still to, it's not only good because it's Danish, you still have to find quality. So it's not just, oh, it's a Danish cask, then we use it. We still have to ensure that it's good. And that's why it's easier said than done. But we really want to, if I could change it like that, then everything we did, every ingredient we use was Danish. And not because anything else is bad, just because that's one way to highlight Danish products. And every time we get a tourist, like a German, they want to taste something that is Danish. So it's, and the same with me. If I went to Germany and I had to taste some whiskey, I would also ask, what is purely German whiskey? What is the standard of German whiskey? I'm not interested in tasting a German whiskey that tries to copy Springbank or anything like that, because Springbank already does Springbank.
Yeah. If you could change one thing, what would that be?
Regarding the distillery?
Or your project, your whiskey, your distillery?
It's a very big project.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money going into the project and every year, so we have to work and we have to sell more and more whiskey. And
so maybe the funding?
Maybe with funding.
Okay. You would change like a cheat code, so you have more funding.
Yeah, I would like to make more whiskey to have it in the future for selling. So, but now we are limited on what we have of money to produce our whiskey. So that's our limit.
I was actually, it's actually, I'm quite happy that you give that answer, because I was just waiting for somebody to say that answer, because in whiskey it's such a complicated business and it's such a complicated product to make. And it involves a lot of time and money, and I think many people underestimate that when they consume whiskey, how much effort and passion you have to put into making whiskey, and also invest your own time and money to make whiskey. So
that's a good point.
I very much understand that. Was ist zurzeit eure größte Herausforderung?
Herausforderung?
Ich falle hier fast schon vom Stuhl. Noch habe ich nichts getrunken.
Die größte Herausforderung ist momentan im Prinzip dänischen Whisky, Tü-Whisky bekannt zu machen. Ist, wir sind viel auf deutschen Messen, wir sind aber auch in Schweden, in Holland unterwegs, in England bald. Es kennen uns immer mehr Leute, viele Touristen kommen hierher, aber es ist ein organisches Wachstum insofern. Es ist allerdings langsam auch Dänemark und auch skandinavischer Whisky weiterhin bekannt. Insofern wird es peu à peu mehr. Aber ich denke mal, das ist so das, was uns jeden Tag so challenged, dass uns mehr Leute kennen, mehr Leute kennenlernen und auch zu schätzen wissen. Wir machen ja ein Nischenprodukt. Es sind vielleicht 2% der gesamten Whisky-Produktion, die so extrem organic Single Estate ist wie das, was wir machen. Das ist vielleicht eine Handvoll weltweit an Destillerien, die das tun. Es sind kleine Mengen. Es ist insofern ganz weit weg von einem Massenprodukt. Insofern ist es auch eine Nische, die Leute zu finden, die das zu schätzen wissen.
Ja. What is the biggest challenge for you right now here at the distillery?
I think the biggest challenge, I've been talking about it just before, trying to open up windows and going to other countries than Denmark, because we are producing more than we can sell in Denmark when we are reaching maybe 2-3 years. So we opened up already. Kirsch released our whiskey and bought some casks. Berry Brothers in London bought casks and released them a few years back. And we do a little business with Italy also. But that will be a challenge. Yeah. And I hope, I also hope that things will get more stable in the world economy and the political situation, because people are frightened now. They are scared and they don't want to use their money on the top level for buying whiskey, because what should happen? And I hope that will be better. Yeah.
Wenn du wenn ihr als Brennerei eine schottische Brennerei kaufen könntet / müsstet, welche wäre das?
Oh. Waterford oder Kilchoman wäre bestimmt interessant.
Waterford steht ja zum Verkauf, also von daher wäre vielleicht das eine Option. Wenn du außer Stauning noch eine schottische Brennerei kaufen müsstest oder könntest?
Isle of Raasay.
Isle of Raasay. Okay, das war eine sehr schnelle Antwort. Warum?
Ich finde es einfach geil. Geile Whisky, geile Story. Ich würde wahrscheinlich, sage ich mal, eher ein Rye Whisky irgendwo wählen als ein schottische. Aber es kommt ganz schnell und es liegt mir wirklich Isle of Raasay, da habe ich gar keinen Zweifel dran.
Cool. If you have to pick a Scotch distillery that you would buy,
Yeah.
which one would that be to accompany yours?
Yeah. All my life, I've been changing my taste.
Same here.
In the beginning, I only drank sherry matured whiskey because I think, oh, this sweetness is lovely. This period, I'm trying to. I really like bourbon matured whiskey. It's really clean and it's okay. You can taste what you get. You know what's in the bottle and you okay. So it's changing and it's also season decided. So in the spring and the summer, I really like the bourbon matured whiskey. If I go to the West Coast and I have a rainy and really cold day, go to a summer house, I sit down. I really like a peated dark whiskey. But if I go to a Scottish distillery, I really love, for example, Mortlach, if you should say, from Scotland, and if it should be peated Islay whiskey, I love that. Or Bowmore is really lovely too. The sweetness there, together with the peat, I love that.
Great picks.
Yeah.
Quite up my alley. Mortlach and Bowmore. If you would have to pick a Scotch or a Scotch brand, a Scotch distillery to accompany your distillery, which one would you pick?
Yeah, well, since I was very small, I was always fascinated about Glenfiddich.
Yeah.
I just think it was fascinating.
Lovely place, lovely people, and without Glenfiddich, we wouldn't be sitting here, probably. So, a lot to thank to Glenfiddich. Wenn du einen World Whisky picken müsstest, einen Weltwhisky, also nicht Schottland, nicht Irland, nicht USA.
Und auch kein Stauning?
Auch keinen der eigenen Marke, genau.
Welche soll ich denn dann wählen? Dann, das ist eigentlich eine sehr interessante Frage. Ich würde eher sagen, ich habe die ja schon erwähnt, also da gibt es ein paar Distillen, wo ich sage, hey, Neugier dran, die probiere ich immer gern, ja, unsere Freunde da aus Berlin, Stork, Kyro aus Finnland ist auch interessant, da gibt es halt eben zum Beispiel aus Amerika die großen, da den Mitchers zum Beispiel, Wild Turkey 101, also da gibt es da gibt's halt eben so 5, wo ich sage, hey, also ich würde eher das umformulieren und sagen, hey, du sitzt in einer Whiskybar, da gibt es kein Stauning auf der Regal. Wenn einer von den 5 Marken da stehen würde, dann würde ich sofort hingreifen.
Okay, also auch Rye.
Ja, ich bin ein Rye-Mensch vom Geschmack her, ja.
If you would, the same question, if you would have to pick a world whiskey to accompany your whiskey, that is not a Danish whiskey and not a Scotch and Irish whiskey.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
Which one I would pick now?
And what do you think makes Danish whiskey unique?
I think that we are young in whiskey production in Denmark. But I think we've been doing a lot of experiments to get where we are now.
Yeah.
Of course, we've been searching back in history and saying, okay, how do they do in Scotland? Because they've not invented whiskey, but they've been making whiskey for a couple of 100 years now. So they have experience here. But when you have experience, you can also get stuck. And you don't move because, okay, we've been doing this for 100 years
yes.
now, why shouldn't we develop?
Yeah.
Here in Denmark we have many different types of distilleries making really, really good whiskey.
Yeah.
When we started back in 2009, we had maybe 5 distilleries here, micro distilleries here in Denmark. Now we've got maybe 40 micro distilleries.
Yeah.
So it's developing. Some of them, I've tasted many of them. Some of them absolutely will manage, and some of them there's a long way to go now.
Yeah. But yeah, I would as a whiskey nerd from another country, I would certainly agree what you said that. Scotland might be a bit in trouble in terms of doing the same all over again, some distilleries. And I think that Denmark, as far as you guys are the 3rd distillery I visit, and every single distillery surprised me again and in a different way. So I would totally agree that the diversity is a very big
issue.
And it's a very, very positive thing for whiskey drinkers, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. If you would have to pick a world whiskey, so non-Scotch, non-Irish, and in that case non-Danish whiskey.
Yeah, a world whiskey. Well, the Japanese, they do very good, very what do you call it, crispy.
Yeah.
Nice whiskeys, I think, in Japan.
Do you have a specific brand where you say that's my favorite?
Really,
okay.
No. I've been traveling in Tokyo for a week, and I tasted some difference, and I think it's quite fun to taste.
Awesome.
It's very clear and very.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting to have the chance to go to Japan, but it must be
it's a nice place.
A great experience.
Yeah.
So, jetzt muss ich kurz meine furchtbare Schrift lesen. Was macht aus deiner Sicht dänischen Whisky einzigartig?
Es ist die, wenn wir Terroir-Whisky machen, dänischen Whisky machen, dann kennen wir uns schon zwar mit Whisky aus, aber wir wollen keinerlei Kopien herstellen. Insofern arbeiten wir einfach mit den Produkten, die wir hier haben, um ein tolles Produkt zu machen, das unvergleichbar ist, unverwechselbar ist mit jedem anderen Ort.
Das ist eine gute Frage, weil ich, sag mal, weiß ja nicht, wie jeder andere es mag, aber dass wir halt eben ein dänischer Whisky mit dänischen Produkten aus Dänemark herstellt, den Terroir, wie man aus Wein kennt, also ein regionales Whisky herstellt. Das finde ich immer interessant, egal wo du hingehst, auch innerhalb Deutschland, wenn die halt eben was vor Ort verwendet haben. Und ich habe vollen Verständnis dafür, wenn wir dieses anspricht, die Schotten, die haben nicht genügend, sag ich mal, Barley zur Verfügung, die müssen es importieren. Ja. Und dann bringen die auch hervorragende Whiskys raus. Also ist auch eine Frage, welche Möglichkeiten gibt es vor Ort. Also der Australier kann ja nicht rauchen, zum Beispiel, also peated. Ja. Einfach diejenigen, die was vor Ort gibt, verwendet.
Dafür haben die dann andere Weinfässer. Also das ist genau immer das spannend. Finde ich auch, bin ich voll bei dir, finde ich auch super spannend. Also nicht nur Terroir aus dem Getreide, sondern eben auch aus den Möglichkeiten der Kultur des Landes.
Genau.
Super spannend.
Genau.
What makes Danish whiskey unique?
In order to answer your question, I think there's you need to know that there was this big food revolution many years ago where you had Noma, one of the best restaurants in the world, really focusing on local Danish herbs that we in Denmark even haven't heard of, and is today more common to know about. And the big new Nordic scene revolutionized the whole cuisine of making everything local and picking herbs from nearby and telling a story through that. And I worked, before I got into Trollen, I worked in the wine industry, but also as a bartender. And I worked in one of the best bars in the world, where even there you still used mango and oranges and limes and coconut and very exotic fruits, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was really a good place to work in, but there was not this discussion about how can we adopt local ingredients into making cocktails. So what should we do to replace the lemons and limes? So when I started here, I saw that we slowly tried to adopt one of these notions that we got from Noma, but it was very much delayed. But I see it more and more. So when I talk to my colleagues in the business, they are talking more about adopting local ingredients and local casks. So it's definitely something I see more and more. So I wouldn't say that Danish whiskey is unique yet, but we're definitely getting close to something that makes something truly Danish and very Danish whiskey. And it is through these experimentations with different casks and different environments and different ingredients that we are really getting good at something. And we are winning awards right now for our whiskey, but I think we have not even reached the limit of what Danish whiskey can be. I really think we have the potential of be making really, really, really good whiskey. Yeah. But it is through this notion of using local ingredients, as we talked about earlier, that I think we can be unique, and I think every country can be unique. When you make Finnish whiskey or Swedish whiskey and Norwegian whiskey, it's really on focusing on what are we good at. Yeah. And we also have the same, I think they have the same issue in the wine industry in Denmark right now. There are those who make the wines on grapes and are really focusing on making that as good as possible and are good at that. But there are also those who say, well, we will never be able to grow grapes as well as France or Italy and Spain. So we will make something that we are good at in Denmark. And we make some of the best apples in the world, for example. So they are making wines on apples. And I think you will see the same tendency in Denmark. Yeah. There's those who will copy what Scotland and Ireland is good at. And then there are those who will try to find their own way in saying, what are we good at in Denmark?
Once again, and I think that's a very good answer. I think that's one of the reasons why I like whiskey so much, because most, or the whiskey distilleries that do have that kind of approach like you guys, that makes whiskey so interesting, because whiskey reflects the tradition, the culture, the food, the way of life, the thinking of a nation or of a place. Yeah. And I think that makes whiskey quite interesting. So.
Yeah, and also that you as a whiskey distillery you can be nuanced in it. So you don't have to be either experimental or traditional. Yes. You can be both. So we still honor the Scottish whiskey. It's not a rebellion against Scottish whiskey. Yeah. It's just a way of honoring it and what it has done, and also be able to say, but we try to find our own way in this, and both are completely valid. So I think that is not unique for Trollum, but that is one way we go with it. So when we make rum or whiskey and gin, we honor the traditions, but we also try to experiment and say, what if we just break the rules? But you have to know the rules before you can break them.
That's a good point, yeah. What do you think makes Danish whiskey unique?
Well, maybe we're not unique yet, but it's coming there. I think we're working on it. There's a lot of small micro distilleries coming up, getting bigger. Some is big already, and I think we will be a whiskey nation one day.
Yeah, I would agree.
I hope so. Yeah.
I feel like you already are that, to be honest, because I came here for the first time. This is like quite a fresh start for me. But I can see a red line through all the distilleries. I feel there is something that unifies Danish whiskey. But
I'm happy. Yeah.
It's I feel that, for example, compared to Germany, where we are all over the place, we don't really have a unified style of that. And all of you distilleries are very different, but still I feel you can sort of see a link. So I think you already have that.
We also have a good connection together.
Yes.
We meet together and we speak together and we have a good network. Yeah. It's important.
And I think as a whiskey nerd you can feel that. Because
we're not competitors. Yeah. We have to stay together.
That's exactly what Thomas from Trolsen told me yesterday.
Okay,
so it's a nice answer. Wenn du euren Whisky mit einem Wort beschreiben müsstest?
Zum Umarmen.
Es sind zwei, aber lass ich gelten. Euer Whisky in einem Wort. Das ist gemein, ich weiß.
Nein. In einem Wort, da bin ich, sag mal, viel zu viel und so oft in München unterwegs und dann würden die natürlich in München sagen, geil.
Your whisky in one word.
Oh, in one word. Very good. Two words. No, okay. If I could use two words, I would say oily, and I would say sting nettles.
Your whisky in one word.
That's not fair.
I know.
Our whiskey. Craftsmanship. Yeah. Whatever we do in Trollen, it's all about honoring the craftsmanship and being true to that. So we never take the easy way out. So we always ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do, not what is the best thing to do, what is the right thing to do right now. And that takes craftsmanship. So
cool.
Yeah.
If you would have to describe your whiskey in one word, what would that be?
Easy drinkable. Yeah.
Ja. Oh.
But still complex. Yeah.
Und die letzte Frage, warum sollen Leute euren Whisky kaufen?
Wenn sie etwas suchen, was wirklich nachhaltig produziert ist, hier gibt es nichts zu verstecken, es ist alles organisch produziert. Wir sind ein Familienbetrieb, wir sind insgesamt 15 Leute. Die Hälfte macht Farming, die andere Hälfte macht Whisky. Es ist also für die Leute, die wirklich dies wertschätzen und es auch unterstützen möchten, für die ist Thy Whisky Prinzip unvermeidlich mal auszuprobieren.
Also das ist die erste Brennerei, die ich in Dänemark besuche. Die Benchmark ist jetzt ganz schön hochgelegt für die nächsten Brennereien. Ja, vielen Dank. Und das war's. Danke, dass ich hier sein durfte.
Sehr gerne.
Man sollte euren Whisky kaufen, weil...
Man soll den kaufen, weil er ist regional, weil es ist sage ich mal, eine Zeitreise. Im Grunde ein Herstellungsprozess, die vor 150 Jahren gab es im Schottland. Das heißt, man kriegt in moderne Form eine kleine Reise zurück in die Vergangenheit, zu erleben, wie das früher gemacht wurde.
Ja. Vielen Dank, Henning.
Bitte. Flashback.
People should buy your whiskey because...
Yeah,
it's not the question actually.
No.
People should buy your whiskey because...
Yeah, okay, because we make a really good aromatic tasting whiskey, really oily. The aromas connect to raw oil, so it has its own character. And we are one of the oldest distilleries in Denmark, so we are having cask, and we used to say, okay, we want to wait. The whiskey should be ready before we release it because and now we release whiskey 10, 11, 12 years old, and of course the maturing makes it makes it better, makes it stable, makes it more round, makes it in balance. So I think it's really good.
John, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me camp out in the back.
You are welcome.
And thank you for the nice tour and your time.
You're welcome. Anytime.
And everybody out there, if you can get your hands on a Farilochen whiskey, definitely try it. It's worth your time. People should buy your whiskey because...
Because they want to taste what Danish whiskey can be and what Danish whiskey is. Yeah, if they want to try something that Denmark is able to do, then they should try our whiskey. That both can be traditional and still experimental.
Yeah.
If they can live with both being present, then they should buy our whiskey.
Sounds cool. Like I can't wait to try it. Thomas, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, this will be a sound recording, but hopefully the rest of the video stuff is fine.
Yeah.
That was a really, really nice visit, and I'm a little bit. I'm falling a little bit in love with Denmark. It's very funny because I wasn't a big fan of Scandinavian whiskey before. And I had a very bad experience as a child coming to Denmark because it was super boring. We stayed on a farm and it was so boring, and I was like, I'm never going back to Denmark. And now I had this week of time to travel, and I felt like, why don't you go to Denmark? It's so close, and they have whiskey distilleries, and you haven't visited them. And now every day I visit more distilleries. One day is better than the other. It's like,
then Nyborg really has something to.
I mean, the bar is very high now for Nyborg, I have to say, but it's crazy. Like every distillery is so unique and has something special to offer, and is unique in their own way. Yeah. But I would definitely agree that I feel this uniqueness of the Danish approach is very prominent.
Yeah, and it is a big friendship with all of the distilleries. And every time I walk into a hotel or restaurant and are trying to sell my product, they are already have Danish whiskey. Where I'm saying, well, it's not about replacing the other competitors. It's actually the more Danish whiskey. I would more happily replace the Jack Daniel's whiskey than Verlochen. I would like that we both can be there. Yeah. And that people know that our whiskey does not taste any similar to Verlochen. Yeah. So I'm never trying to get rid of my competitors. I'm always trying to get rid of the more standard stuff.
Yeah. And people should buy your whiskey because
it's Danish, it's organic. We only done organic since we started. It's a good quality for a good price, I think.
Cool. Yeah. Straight answer.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Ja, danke fürs Zusehen. Das war der zweite Teil unserer Reihe. Damit beende ich quasi auch meine Dänemark-Reihe, meine Dänemark-Serie. Ich fand es super, super spannend, wie unterschiedlich die verschiedenen Brennereien teilweise geantwortet haben, teilweise aber auch nicht. Also ich habe das Gefühl, wir können hier quasi wirklich einen roten Faden von dänischen Whisky, von der dänischen Identität langsam erkennen. Und für mich als Dänemark-Neuling und als Neuling auch im skandinavischen Whisky oder als nicht Neuling, aber jedenfalls jemand, der nicht einen Fokus auf diesem skandinavischen Whisky hatte bisher, habe ich den Eindruck, dass ich bin definitiv sehr positiv überrascht worden. Ich fand jeden Besuch wahnsinnig spannend und Dänemark hat hier wirklich mein Herz erobert. Ihr habt auch in den Interviews echt gesehen, dass hier sehr viel Leidenschaft, sehr viel Herzblut drin steckt und dass der dänische Whisky definitiv ein Whisky-Bereich ist, der sehr viel, sehr viele regionale Identität hat, der sehr viel Fokus auf die auf eine sehr hochqualitative Herstellung legt und ich bin auf jeden Fall sehr gespannt, wie hier der dänische Whisky sich weiterentwickelt wird im internationalen Vergleich. Ich sehe hier auf jeden Fall ganz, ganz viel Potenzial und die Whiskys, die ich probiert habe, fand ich auch durch die Bank durch alle sehr spannend und sehr gut gemacht. Auch die mir persönlich nicht gefallen haben, nicht geschmeckt haben, fand ich trotzdem sehr gut konstruiert. Und ich finde es auf jeden Fall super interessant, was hier gerade in Dänemark passiert. Und ich sehe da ganz viel Spannendes in der Zukunft auf uns zukommen. Und jetzt bedanke ich mich bei euch, dass ihr dabei wart. Und wir sehen uns in den Kommentaren. Bis später. Moin Whisky-Fans, willkommen bei Teil Nummer 2 für meine Schnellfrage mit der Thy Distillery, mit der Stauning Distillery, mit Farilochern, mit der Trolden Distillery und mit der Nyborg Distillery, die den Isle of Fiona Single Malt herstellen. Alle 5, eine für sich, eine spannender Scheiße.
And you cleared your memory.
I did, yes. I did a lot of work yesterday. I did. I even deleted some apps. So
yeah. Facebook
is now gone, which is actually not a bad thing. So